Welcome to Central Florida. I'm Justin Baxley, former owner of Hiers-Baxley Funeral Services, and we're here at Hiers-Baxley's newest location in Florida's friendliest hometown, America's largest retirement community, The Villages. Hiers-Baxley Funeral Services actually dates back to 1885 and began in Ocala, Florida, about 30 miles north of where we are right now. Originally, it was called McKeever-McKay Funeral Home. The Hiers family purchased it in 1936, and at that time, it was called Hiers Funeral Home. I'm actually a second-generation funeral director, so my dad joined with the Hiers family in 1971 and ultimately partnered into the company, making it Hiers-Baxley Funeral Services. And we grew as essentially the communities around us grew from one location to now 5 locations and a cemetery. And in 2012, we actually became part of the Foundation Partners Group. One of the projects we were actually talking about at the time that we joined Foundation Partners was this facility that we're setting in. We had already been serving the Villages for a number of years, but as the Villages community continued to grow to now over 160,000 retirees in this one community, there was definitely a need for us to have a larger, more central location to be able to serve the community well. You can get anywhere in the Villages from your home on a golf cart. The Villages has its own shopping districts. The Villages has its own movie theaters, its own restaurants, its own medical care. So when someone retires to the Villages, they have a very high standard of excellence and a very high anticipation for the type of service that they're going to be provided anywhere they go. And that includes going to the funeral home. Our location here at Buffalo Ridge is completely golf cart accessible, so it is not unusual for families or friends more than likely to be able to attend a visitation or funeral or gathering reception via their golf cart. And I would have to say that's got to be one of the pretty unique features about our funeral home. I don't know too many funeral homes in the U.S. that are golf cart accessible by design, but we certainly are. This community has 37 community event centers. All the facilities that are present here in the Villages are built extremely well. So it was important to us to go ahead and build a facility that really fit in with that experiential mindset and expectation. So everything that takes place in this facility takes place with a commitment to excellence. The Villages community actually extends into 3 individual counties, Lake, Marion, and Sumter counties. And so we've used those 3 county names to name our large gathering spaces. And again, that's just that whole concept of saying to the community, whatever your needs are, we can meet them. Whatever your expectations are, we can exceed them. Our story is important, our legacy is important, but it's nothing compared to the story of that individual family that's experienced a loss. When we built this facility, we realized that we really needed to build something that can accommodate not just funerals, but other types of life events. One of the questions that I often get is, how is it that you have multiple types of events going on all at one time? When we did our open house event, we actually illustrated this for attendees by having an Atlantic City themed party complete with a DJ and laser lights and everything else going in one space, while we had a very traditional funeral environment going in another space complete with a 4-string quartet. And when you walked in the front door of the facility, you could neither hear nor see either one of those events. And so as a company, we have really tried to focus on giving our funeral arrangers tools that allow them not just to plan a funeral, but to truly plan a life celebration event. That innovation involves bringing technology into the picture to really be able to create an environment where that event can take place that helps to tell the story. Here at Hiers-Baxley in the Villages, we have what's called the Share Life multisensory experience. And what that essentially means is that our 2 large gathering spaces are outfitted with a 40-foot concave screen with high-def projection, obviously a quality sound system, and unique in many ways, a scent generator, an ambient scent generator. Science tells us scent is the strongest sense tied to memory. what could be more important for us when we're telling stories, when we're trying to open the door to memories, than to bring in scents that match somewhere around 40 different video themes. For example, we have a golf video theme that we use, very popular here in the Villages, as this is a golf retirement community. So when we have that golf theme, we run the scent of fresh cut grass. And so you get a scent and sense of being outside, maybe on the course, playing right after they've cut the grass. One of the more unique funerals that I can remember with the Share Life technology is a family that was actually from Hawaii. And so it was very important for us to be able to incorporate the visual of being at the ocean and the waves lapping up on the beach, the sound of the waves coming through the audio system, and then the celebrant that was actually serving the family asked the audience to kind of close their eyes and imagine themselves at the beach, and basically said, you know, it's almost as if you can smell the suntan lotion in the air. And at that time we engaged the scent generator with a suntan lotion type of smell. When they closed their eyes, it was a blank wall and just an average smelling room. When they opened their eyes, they had a 40-foot wall of moving ocean, as well as the smell of suntan lotion in the air. Now, we can't begin to know what sort of memories that conjured for anyone in the room, but we do know that it's a funeral unlike any other funeral they've been to. So we have a tremendous amount of flexibility within the building as to where we're actually putting media. So that if we're opening a section of the building to a family or the whole building for a large-scale event, we know that we can support the audiovisual needs in any individual space or in every space at the same time. The various audiovisual components and even being able to turn the scent generators on and off are all done right from an iPad. The technology is important, but I think the most important thing is to remember that technology is never the goal, it's a tool. The goal is to tell the story, and every tool we can provide our funeral directors to do that just serves to enhance the family's experience and serves to help the family see value and relevance in what we do as a funeral service provider. Most industries spend lots of money on marketing just to get people to walk through the door. In the funeral service profession, we have thousands of people that walk through the door to attend funerals, and the funeral is our primary marketing effort, and yet we don't tell a story. We don't share, hey, here's what we can do. Help them to imagine what we can create for their family or the family of someone that they know. So we try to make sure that every event we create here, and with the tools and technology that we have available to us, that we're really creating a transformative event that people go away talking about. One of the things that we do that's unique and maybe a little bit controversial for some folks is we do actually offer a number of hospitality selections in the arrangement conversation, including beer and wine. So we realize, and I think much of funeral service is really realizing that, hey, food and funeral service go together. And in an environment like this, where 8 out of 10 families are choosing cremation, we know that we have an extra advantage of being able to provide that reception environment immediately following a ceremony in our facility. We also have the infrastructure in place to accommodate those that are providing those services. So we have partnered with some caterers here in the area, and we have 2 catering prep kitchens inside this facility that allow them to truly come in behind the scenes, have a place to stage, and be able to effectively serve any of our large gathering spaces. We do, however, have beer and wine licensing in this facility also, meaning that we don't have to rely on a caterer for offering and selling beer and wine. But we are able to capture that revenue right here at the funeral home, and we're also able to serve the family better and frankly be a better community citizen by knowing that we can, with our own team, control that serving process and make sure that it really fits within the environment that we're trying to create here. When we have folks from within our profession come to visit this facility, one of the things I'll tell them is, don't go build this building. And I don't say that because of any reason other than We built this building with our community in mind. Don't try to replicate it. Figure out what really matters in your community and then meet the needs of families and community members where they are. Be relevant to them where you are. Funeral service, in my opinion, is a profession that has an extremely bright future. Those that are willing to stay relevant are going to continue to serve. When folks take a look at this facility, I hope that's their main takeaway, is that they feel like we have really stretched to try to meet the needs of consumers and maybe more importantly, anticipate them. Because you can't ask a grieving family, what do you want? And all the technology in the world doesn't matter if that conversation that's had between the funeral director and the family isn't personal, meaningful, and intentional. And so for us, as much as building a building is important, more important is building into our funeral directors to know how to serve families well and know how to really glean from them the life story that's going to create a relevant event. Thanks, Funeral Cribs. Look out for the next episode.